Alright, gather around, friends of history. Today, we're heading north to the land of shimmering lakes, silent forests, and a legacy of fierce warriors and peace-loving visionaries. Welcome to Sweden, a country that's gone from Viking raids to Nobel Prizes, from icebound legends to cutting-edge design. And you're watching Map Your Mind. Travel through the world with your brain. Before IKEA and ABBA, the Age of Stone and Saga, Sweden's story starts long before flat-pack furniture. We're talking Ice Age here. When the land was buried under glaciers, as the ice melted, the first hunter-gatherers settled in what would become Sweden around 12,000 years ago. By the Bronze and Iron Ages, Sweden was dotted with burial mounds, rock carvings, and early forms of tribal organization. People lived off the land, worshipped Norse gods, and passed down tales of giants, gods, and epic battles. Then came the Vikings, arguably the coolest troublemakers in early Swedish history. From the 8th to 11th centuries, Swedish Vikings weren't just raiding. They were also traders and explorers. They sailed the rivers of Russia, made deals in Constantinople, and even reached as far as Baghdad. This was a time when Sweden wasn't yet a unified country, but a collection of chieftain-run territories. It was wild, untamed, and full of legend. A kingdom is forged. By the 12th century, Sweden started turning into a real kingdom. Christianity spread across the land, slowly replacing the old Norse faith. The kings of Sweden began asserting more power, though it wasn't always smooth. Civil wars and rival dynasties kept things messy. In the 14th century, Sweden entered into the Kalmar Union with Denmark and Norway. Basically, the three crowns were supposed to unite under one monarch. But let's be real. It was mostly Denmark calling the shots. Swedes weren't thrilled. And by the early 1500s, a guy named Gustav Vasa decided enough was enough. He kicked out the Danes and became king in 1523. Officially founding modern Sweden, think of Gustav as Sweden's George Washington, but with more moose. From northern powerhouse to neutral peacekeeper, the 17th century was Sweden's big superpower moment. Under kings like Gustavus Adolphus, Sweden expanded into northern Germany, the Baltics, and even parts of modern-day Russia. They were major players in the 30 Years' War, swinging swords and shaping European politics. But running an empire is exhausting. By the 18th century, Sweden started losing territory and influence. Wars with Russia and others chipped away at the empire. And by the 1800s, Sweden was dialing things way down. In 1814, Sweden entered into a peaceful union with Norway. It lasted almost a century until Norway went solo in 19... Since then, Sweden decided it was done with the whole war thing. It stayed neutral in both world wars. Yep, even World War II. And emerged as a humanitarian and industrial powerhouse. The Sweden you know. Today, post-World War II, Sweden embraced social democracy, building one of the world's most comprehensive welfare states. It became known for neutrality, diplomacy, and innovation, from Volvo to Spotify, pacifism to pop music. It's a country that holds on to its ancient roots while also pushing into the future. Swedes still honor their Viking past, celebrate midsummer with flowers and dancing, and believe deeply in balance between nature and city life, tradition and innovation. Fun fact, every December, the world watches Sweden as it awards the Nobel Prizes, except for the Peace Prize, which is handed out in Norway. Why? Long story short, Alfred Nobel decided it that way in his will. But still, it's Sweden that gives out the awards for science, literature, and economics. So the brains of the world owe this place a thank you. So next time you think of Sweden, don't just picture meatballs and snowy forests. Picture a land where ancient sagas echo through high-tech cities, where the spirit of the Vikings still runs wild. Only now, they're designing apps instead of swinging axes. This is Sweden, fierce, thoughtful, and always just a little cooler than the rest. Stick around, there's a whole world to uncover, right here on Map Your Mind. Where to next?